I'd like you to imagine two scenarios, and we might think, I'm fortunate everyone's got paper, so imagine two scenarios. The first scenario is the most effective group that you've seen, so probably predominantly it's a successful sporting team or a business, and think about the qualities, what qualities made that team or that business or that group. You might have worked with an awesome group in class, you can choose any one of those. What qualities made those groups successful? Okay, so consider another scenario. Very quick 5 minutes. Okay, what I will do is I'll present this second scenario to you, and I'll give you probably the catch-up time. I just want to make sure that we're thinking about the two scenarios. So now choose the alternate. Probably it may very well have been in your teaching career when you've had a very dysfunctional group, or in current trends you may very well be able to identify with a dysfunctional business, or you might have been a member of a dysfunctional sporting team. What characteristics, what predominant characteristics made those groups, those teams or those businesses dysfunctional? Okay? Collaborative assumptions. The first one says students don't understand how to work in student groups. Now, I'm not sure, I think we assume that they do. Yes, I believe that the assumption would be that most teachers assume that students know how to work in groups. And in fact, the statement there, number one, is an absolute fact. They don't. Students do not know how to work in groups. So if we are creating a shell, 151 for next year, and we are saying, okay, from the entry document, students want to work in groups, and we have to evaluate where are we going to teach this. Students have not been trained in assessing others on facilitation and leadership, conflict management, or any other factor under the term collaboration. Once again, the assumption would be the opposite to that, because that number 2 there again is a fact. So in PBL at Parramatta Marist, we ask students to grade each other on collaboration. We dropped the ball on the process when we went to the training the first time. Why? Because when we came back, we didn't know about the process. We had to teach them how to do it first, and we didn't. So how can we expect quality results, quality assessment, quality conflict resolution from Year 9 and 10 students when we haven't taught them? And in fact, we haven't taught each other, we haven't gone through this as a staff, and today's the day. That's why I'm so excited, because this is the stepping stone, the first one, where we as a staff will get on the same page, and then we can coach the students.
What are some of the things that we have problems with in our classes with regards to our students' skills? Analysis.
Well, they don't have the knowledge.
Sorry?
They don't have the knowledge to be able to analyse. I mean, they don't know that. Right? It gets back to the knowledge. Organisation.
Excellent.
Yeah, of course.
What else?
You can make that time management as well.
Yeah.
Skills.
We include specific skills?
Yes, if you like to.
Graphing?
Graphing.
Concentration.
Yeah, engagement. What else?
That was meaning of words. Word meaning.
I think
it's all of us.
I think in science, one of the big things,
Yeah.
probably in jazz as well, is that they don't actually have the experience of doing things. You know, they get a lot of explanation about how everything works, but they don't actually have the experience of making things and doing them.
It's not a bad
As
thing,
much
my
as-
subject.
I suppose it depends what you're trying to teach them. As to what you want. Okay. You've got now 3 minutes to share your ideas with someone. Now there's always a twist in these activities, because I find the students are really good at talking and not very good at listening.
Oh,
So I say to the students, and at the end of this, I'm going to ask you what your partner told you. So all of a sudden you've got a context. They've got to do some listening, otherwise this isn't going to work. They're going to look like a fool when I ask them to say something. So they've got 3 minutes to share now. Find someone maybe you haven't spoken to today or you don't normally speak to. Take this as an opportunity to meet your peers and share whatever you wrote down and whatever you use in your classroom to help your students.
well,
Alright, if everyone could just be sitting down in their groups, because we have sort of caught up with our time frame. So, screens down. Screens down, because we just need to take you through the process of this next part of the afternoon. Okay, so this is when basically the two groups that I've been facilitating, you get to present your project or your outline plan to each other. Okay, and we go through what is the critical friends process, where we're highlighting the things that you like, the things that you're wondering if about, and also identifying possible next steps. So I can go through that in more detail if you have a look at the screens. Okay, so phase one. During phase one, when one group is presenting, the other group... During phase one, when the first group is presenting, the other groups do not speak. Okay, because that's their chance to get all of their ideas onto the table. You say, these are our ideas, this is our plan, however you've planned your presentation. Okay, during the second phase, this is when the other team has a chance to respond. Okay, you get to critique. And this is when you pose questions using the frame, well, firstly, you say, I like the fact that. Okay, so you're pulling out the things that you like about the project. The second thing that you move into is what you wonder if about the project or the outline that's been designed. And then you might also be able to highlight a next step might be. Okay, so where that team can go in order to develop their design further.
Things that they're unsure, clarifying questions. I wonder if this is feasible. I wonder if everyone knows how to use a wiki. I wonder if, etc. Okay? And then a next step would be, how do we put what has been stated into practice? What are the stages that we actually put them into practice? Now, also, once a group has been presented and they've had the chance to respond, on this sheet of paper that you've had there, can we write down what were the key I likes? What were the good things that came from that presentation? So you'll do your I likes and I wonders ifs by yourselves. You might write your own one in a list or however, which is the way in which you learn. Okay, but at the end, if we can put in our key I likes, the main takeaways that we've got from that presentation, and then from the second presentation, or for this group, for the 3 that you'll do, okay, and we're going to share them as a big group, okay. So we have roughly about 25 minutes for that. So maybe after...
From a big unit in determinate work, so we picked the marketing component for Year 11. And what we decided was, because marketing is the most creative of the 12 or 13 units that we do, we thought that would be the easiest one to tackle for today.
Necessarily you can't start with direct instruction, but what's a way that you can communicate that?
Use the computer sources, so they go and research what is the law, what are legal terminologies.
One way. What about starting off? Any way we can start off with a
class brainstorm, and the teacher would have those breadcrumbing questions so that you get those designated responses, and then that last lesson would be provided as a podcast, so that for if the student is away for that 5 lessons, technically